Hello children, very good morning. Today I have brought a new chapter for you, that is Mother's Day, from the book of Snapshot. This chapter has been written by J.B. Presley. In this chapter, the narrator describes an account of a mother. How does she stand for her rights and respects? How does she stand for the individual respects on behalf of her children? In this chapter, the narrator wants to describe how the other family, like her husband, daughter, son, they did not give any respect to her. She was very pleasant woman, but she looks always worried about this, how to solve and how to manage this. They most of the time gave her order and they avoid the responsibilities for her to do. So she was very worried about this type of problems which was obtrusively covered in her family. So let you know something about the characters of this chapter. The first character is Mrs. Anna Pearson. She is the mom. She is the mother in this chapter. She is the main lady and chief lady, you can say owner of her family. She is very pleasant woman, but most of the time she is worried about the behavior and about the reactions of her children, because they do not give her proper respect. They most of the time order her for their own works, which is small works, and they could do it in a while. But just like making a cup of tea, washing clothes, ironing clothes, so these all they were telling their mom to do. Next character is George Pearson. This is second character in this chapter. He is the husband of Mrs. Anna Pearson. Let you know something about this character, George Pearson. He is the master and father of Doris and Cyril. He is very careless. He is very irresponsible person. He does not give enough time to stay along with his wife Anna Pearson and his children Doris and Cyril. He has no care about his family. He most of the time stays outside. He has no responsibility of managing things in his family, what is going on. He doesn't care about the reactions and the behavioral emotions of his children. He is very careless. Next character is Doris. Doris is the daughter of Mrs. Anna Pearson and George Pearson. She is very pretty and 20 years old daughter. She is fond of wandering here and there. She is fond of watching cinema. She is fond of enjoying along with her boyfriend. So she is also very careless and not well dedicated to her mom. She did not give any respect. She also orders for her own works to her mom, Mrs. Pearson. Next character is Cyril. Cyril is the son of Mrs. Anna Pearson and George Pearson. He is also very irresponsible and careless for his mom, Mrs. Anna Pearson. It means these both children, Doris, the daughter of Pearson, and the Cyril, the son of Pearson, they have no respect for their mom, Pearson. They most of the time get angry at her if she is unable or she doesn't complete the work which they have given. And according to me, the behavior of Cyril should not be like that. A person like owner of the family, brother and the son of a mom, they should be responsible. They should have some talk with their parents to know about their own feelings. How are they feeling? Are they well or not? So we should give some respect to them. Our elderly people deserve some respect from us. But they don't have any respect for their mom. And it was the problem, so that the Pearson, Anna Pearson is very worried about that. Next and last character is Mrs. Fizzram. She is the neighbor of Pearson's family. She lives next to the door of Pearson's family. She was belonging to the east side. If you know, or I tell you the personality, physical structure of Fizzram, she was very heavy lady. She was very, her personality is very dangerous. Okay. It was completely opposite if we compare between the qualities of Mrs. Pearson's and Mrs. Fizzram. She was very caring and loving mom for her children, and she was very polite. She was very pleasant woman. But most of the time she was worried and looking frustrated. Okay, due to the not good behavior, or just you can say unhappiness of Doris and Cyril, they did not give any type of respect to their mom. So Mrs. Fizzram tries to suggest her to stand for her own rights in her family. The behavior and the work, the duties, it was as if a servant works in a family, and a mom, a mother, deserves some respects on behalf of her children, even her husband. So there was no respect for her in that family, and this is the account of a mother. In this chapter, the narrator beautifully describes how Mrs. Fitzgerald tries and collect some efforts to solve the problem and help to the lady, Mrs. Annie Pearson. Let you know about the chapters clues which has been given at the beginning of the chapter. The action takes place in the living room of the Pearson's house in London suburb. This story revolves to London suburb. Scene, it has been given that the living room of the Pearson's family. The scene revolves, it was the living room of Pearson's family. The moment was afternoon. It is comfortably furnished. The living room of Pearson's family was comfortably furnished, well furnished, much like a room in a small suburban semi-detached villa. And the condition of villa, it was detached. It means two. The combination, the two villas were joined together. If necessary, only one door need to be used. The narrator describes that it was enough. A single door was enough to use in the villa, but it was more better to use two doors. One up left leading to the front door and the stairs, and the second one was in the right. It was leading to the kitchen and the back door. The door which was in the left side, it was leading to the stairs, and the door which was in the right side, it was leading to the kitchen and the back door. There can be a muslin covered window in the left wall and possibly one in the right wall. There were two windows, one was in the left side and second was in the right side. Both windows were covered with muslin. It is a soft kind of curtain. 2. The fireplace is assumed to be in the fourth wall. There was also a fireplace in the fourth wall in the villa. There is a settee upright, and there was a sofa in the right side, an armchair down left and one down right. Next, a small table with two chairs on either side of it stands at the center. There was also a table and two chairs around it. It was situated or kept at the center of the hall. When the curtain rises, now when the play is ready to be played, it is an afternoon in the early autumn and the stage can be well lit. The stage, the scenario as the narrator describes, the scenario of the stage or around it. The stage was shining, it was lighting up. Mrs. Pearson at the right side and Mrs. Fizzram at the left side. Now the position of the both lady, Anna Pearson and Mrs. Fizzram, they were sitting opposite of each other. One was Pearson was at the right side and Fizzram was at the left side, are sitting opposite, on which are two teacups were there, and there was a table between the both chair and two teacups were there, on which Mrs. Fizzram has been telling through the cards. She was playing with the card and she was having the cards in her hand, and she was telling the Pearson's fortune, that what is better for you to do in your family, how will you get recover from these problems or reactions of your daughter and son. So these all about she was talking with Pearson. Mrs. Pearson is a pleasant but worried looking woman in her 40s, as I told you when I was describing the characters of the chapter. She is very pleasant and worried about her fortune and about the activities which she do in her family. Okay, does in her family. Mrs. Fizzram is older, heavier and a strong and sinister personality. As I told you about the personality of Mrs. Fizzram, she is very heavy and old lady. Her personality is very sinister, dangerous looking. She is smoking and she smokes also. She uses cigarettes. Mrs. Pearson speaking in a light, flurried sort of tone. She speaks very slowly, okay, shortly, with a touch of suburban cockney perhaps, and the language, the tongue which she uses to speak, it was spoken in the cockney perhaps. It means London. It was spoken in London. And Mrs. Fizzram with a deep voice. Mrs. Fizzram's voice was deep and very clear, heavy, or heavier than Mrs. Pearson's, and the language which was spoken by Mrs. Fizzram was spoken in Irish, I think Ireland. Now we have to start with the dialogues. After this, we have got the account and something about the characters of this chapter. Let you know or let you go through the text dialogue by dialogue. Now it's the turn of Mrs. Fizzram. She says, collecting up the cards, and that's all I can tell you. She says that I want to tell you something about your fortune, and could be a good fortune, could be a bad one. It depends on yourself now. She discusses about the destiny. Destiny, it means luck. You can say the synonym of destiny is luck. Okay, so it depends all about on the person's luck or person's efforts. If we want or we try hard to make our luck better and successful, we can do it, and if we don't try, our luck may be bad also. The same thing Mrs. Fizzram describes to Mrs. Pearson. Make up your mind. The next line says that make up your mind. You have to be bold and strong with the mind. If you have decided once, you can do it. And all there it is. Mrs. Pearson. Now it's a turn of Mrs. Anna Pearson to speak. It's a dialogue, and one by one both ladies will converse together to share their ideas and opinions. Mrs. Pearson, now she speaks. Yes, thank you. Mrs. Fizzram, I am much obliged. She thankfully says to, Anna Pearson thankfully says to Mrs. Fizzram, I am very obliged to you. It's nice to meet you and nice to have a talk with you, that you are a wonderful and real fortune teller. It's my opportunity, it's my great chance for me that I have a lady such as you, and you stay next to my door and you can tell the fortune of person. So it's a wonderful opportunity for me to have a fortune teller like you. Did you learn it out east? She asked us where the Fizzram learned it from. She asked that have you learned it from out east? So what is the reply of Mrs. Fizzram? Now it's a turn to speak for Fizzram. Fizzram says that I did 12 years. I learned it 12 years over there with my old man rising to be lieutenant quartermaster. I was there along with my husband. Old man, it means her husband. She left there along with her husband, and her husband was lieutenant quartermaster. He learnt a lot, and I learnt a lot more. Fizzram says about both her husband and herself that we both learnt a lot over there. But will you make up your mind now? What I want to point out directly, Fizzram wants to change the mind of Pearson, Anna Pearson. Okay, she wants to suggest her so that she would be there to give that kind of reaction to their to her children, so that they will respect her. Now, Mrs. Pearson dear, put your foot down. Put your foot down. Here this is a phrase and it means try to be courageous. Put your foot down. It is a phrase. Put your foot down. It means you have to be so bold. You have to get ready with the mind and you have to courageous. Don't try to be courageous. Okay, you have to be courageous to solve your own problems once and for all, and be the mistress of your own house and the boss of your own family. Mrs. Fizzram says, tells to Mrs. Pearson, if you are going to do like that, okay, if you are going to be courageous ones, you will be the mistress, you will be the owner and boss of your family. There nobody would be there to irrespect you. Next, it's a turn to speak for Pearson. Pearson says, smiling apologetically. Okay, she requestfully and normally smile that it is easier said than done. Pearson believes this lady, the owner, mom, mother of Doris and Cyril, she believes that it is very easy to speak but hard to do. So how to do? She was very unpleasant at that moment when she was commanded to do like that, to react badly to her children. She was very loving and caring mom. Besides, instead so fond of them if they are so thoughtless and selfish, they don't mean to be. She was worried about the behavioral concept of her children. They they are very thoughtless and selfish. Okay, it doesn't mean they are very bad for me, though they are my son and daughter, they are my children, so let it be. Mrs. Fizzram continued. She cuts in her statements and try to speak. Maybe not, but it would be better for them if they learn to treat you properly. Maybe not, but I want them to learn a lesson how to react, how to give respect to their mom. Fizzram says like this. I want them to see, just you can say an ideal children. Like an ideal children, they must give respect to you. Mrs. Pearson. Yes, I suppose it would, in a way. Mrs. Pearson agrees with Mrs. Fizzram, saying, yes, I suppose, I hope so. Mrs. Fizzram, no doubt about it at all. Before starting this paragraph, I want to recap something. I want to put up some questions. We have also mom, and unfortunately some family doesn't have mom. So what are their rights? What are their duties in the family? How are we dedicated to our parent, to our elderly people? Anybody? No. Let me answer. We should always be dedicated and devoted for our elderly people like mom, father and our elderly people. We should always react with a smooth expression. Okay, we must react with a smooth expression to our mom so that she will be very happy watching our expression, watching our reactions. Okay, if we treat them politely. But most of the time, when we go back from school to home, we are so tired. And when they tell us, I'm talking about moms, when moms tell us something to do, we get angry at them. We don't